Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine a crime so shocking, so just unbelievable, that it didn't just make headlines, it actually changed how people ate,
Yeah.
in an entire city for a whole year.
Wow.
Yeah. That's the kind of story we're diving into today, the infamous Tandoor murder case. You might also know it as the Naina Sahni murder case from Delhi back in 1995.
A really chilling one.
Absolutely. So our mission here, what we're trying to do is really peel back the layers. We'll look at the troubled relationship behind it all, the really grim details of the crime itself, and also the unprecedented legal milestones it's set here in India. We've been sorting through various accounts, transcripts from popular YouTube explainers, some detailed legal analyses, trying to give you the most complete picture we can get.
And what's so compelling here, I think, is how this case, it's not just about a really tragic murder. It actually became this pivotal moment for India's whole judicial system. Crime investigation, too. It genuinely shook the nation's conscience, bringing things to light about human behavior, about legal precedent, things we're still thinking about today, actually.
Indeed. So to really grasp the tragedy, we have to start with the people involved. Naina Sahni and Sushil Sharma. What did your sources tell you about them? Their personalities, their backgrounds? What kind of set the stage for this relationship?
Well, Naina Sahni, she was 29, a remarkably driven woman, intelligent, from Delhi. Sources say she had a really strong personality, quite vocal, knew what she wanted.
Okay.
She was a Delhi University graduate. And quite unusually for that time, she'd even trained as a commercial pilot.
Yeah.
That says a lot, I think, about her ambition.
Definitely.
And she was politically active, too. Became general secretary of the Delhi Youth Congress Girls Wing back in 1989.
Right. And Sushil Sharma.
Sushil Sharma. Okay, so he was also a Delhi University graduate, commerce. Ambitious, like Naina, but also very street smart, apparently. He rose quickly in politics, became president of the Delhi Youth Congress. But he had this aggressive style. He even got this nickname Chaku.
Chaku, knife?
Exactly. Means knife. Reportedly for things like slashing rivals posters. So yeah, a bit of a reputation. And beyond politics, he had business interests. He co-owned a restaurant, the Bagia Barbecue.
Oh, the restaurant. That becomes important later, obviously.
It's very important.
And their relationship, you said it wasn't straightforward. How did these two, politically involved, ambitious people actually get together? What was it like at the start?
They met through their political work, Congress Party, around 1989, it seems. But what's really striking and sort of central to the whole story is they got married in 1993.
Secretly?
Secretly, why?
Well, that's the key. It was completely private. They lived together in an apartment on Mandir Marg, like husband and wife, but almost nobody knew they were married.
And connecting this to the bigger picture, Sushil absolutely insisted on secrecy. It seems it was largely driven by his political ambitions. He worried, maybe, that being married would make him look, weak to the youth he was trying to influence, or maybe just complicate his image.
I see. That must have been tough for Naina.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? Especially with her personality. This secrecy became a huge point of conflict between them. She naturally wanted their relationship out in the open.
So that core secret, driven by his ambition, sounds like it sowed the seeds for a really strained dynamic right from the start. What else went wrong?
Oh, absolutely. Things went downhill pretty fast. Sources allege Sushil was having multiple extramarital affairs.
All right.
And Naina, being who she was, apparently confronted him about it openly. But this just seemed to intensify his possessiveness.
How so?
Well, there were allegations of physical abuse. Sometimes he'd apparently even lock her in the apartment. And disturbingly, even started spying on her, using their domestic help to report back to him.
Wow. That's controlling isn't even the word.
Exactly. So Naina started feeling really isolated, lonely in this, suffocating secret marriage. She eventually reconnected with an old friend from college, someone she dated before, Matlub Karim.
Matlub Karim. Okay.
Yeah. And he was actually helping her plan a big move. She wanted to go to Australia, start an export business, kind of get away from it all.
A fresh start.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But this contact with Matlub, it just poured fuel on Sushil's suspicions. He already had this habit, apparently. He'd constantly check the redial button on their landline phone.
Seriously?
Yeah, to see who she'd been talking to. He was consumed by jealousy, especially knowing her past with Matlub. This whole mix, his ambition, his deep insecurity, it just festered into this toxic possessiveness. It's a stark look at how personal issues, if not dealt with, can just corrupt everything, leading to paranoia and, well, ultimately.
Unthinkable violence. It's a deeply unsettling picture. And then it all came to a head on that one night, July 2nd, 1995. Take us through it. What happened? What was the trigger?
Right, July 2nd, 1995. That was the night. Sushil came home, found Naina on the phone. She was talking to Matlub, and apparently she'd been drinking alcohol as well. She hung up immediately when she saw Sushil walk in.
Okay. And his reaction?
Instant. He walked straight to the phone, hit redial, and confirmed his worst fears when Matlub answered on the other end. So a huge argument broke out, really heated. And then, according to most sources, in a fit of rage, Sushil used his licensed revolver, a .32 Arminus.
He shot her.
He fired 3 shots, 2 hit Naina, tragically 1 in the head, 1 in the neck. She died instantly. The 3rd bullet missed, hit an AC unit or the wall nearby.
God. Was there any other version of events? I think I read something.
Yes, it's worth mentioning. One account in the source material suggested Naina might have tried to commit suicide first, and then in a renewed argument, Sushil shot her. But the more widely accepted narrative, the one supported by later evidence, points to a direct shooting by Sushil in that moment of rage.
And then the panic sets in, the cover-up, which led to something just horrifying. What did he do? How did he try to hide what he'd done?
Complete panic mode. His first instinct was cover up, meticulously. He wrapped Naina's body first in a plastic bag, then a bedsheet, cleaned up all the blood in the apartment. He even found and tore up a suicide note Naina had apparently written sometime earlier.
Which the police found later.
Yes, remarkably, the police managed to recover the pieces later. So first disposal attempt. He tried to carry the body to his car, Maruti 800, but it was too heavy. He couldn't manage it alone, ended up dragging it.
Okay.
Then he drove around Delhi, thinking maybe throw the body into the Yamuna River from the ITO bridge, but the area was just too crowded, too public, couldn't risk it.
So what next?
So plan C, I guess. He drove to his own restaurant, the Bagaya Barbecue.
His own restaurant?
Yes. Once he got there, he called his manager, Keshav Kumar, told him to clear the place out. Now, send the customers home, give the staff some money and tell them to leave.
And Keshav?
Sushil then confessed everything to Keshav, told him he'd killed Naina and needed his help to get rid of the body. Keshav, understandably, initially refused, but Sushil pressured him, coerced him into helping.
And that's when they decided on the tandoor.
That was the horrifying decision, yes, to burn the body in the restaurant's tandoor, that big clay oven.
This is where it gets just unbelievably gruesome, and there's that detail about whether the body was dismembered. Our sources seemed conflicted on that.
Yes, that's a really critical and grim point of contention.
Yeah.
One account we looked at states quite clearly that Sushil chopped Naina's body into pieces because, well, it wouldn't fit into the tandoor opening otherwise.
Right.
However, other sources, significantly including the Supreme Court's later findings during the appeals, stated there was no definitive forensic evidence of chopping. Their conclusion was that the limbs likely separated due to the extreme heat of the fire. It would have looked like dismemberment, but might have happened post-mortem due to the burning.
Either way, absolutely horrific.
Horrific. And even then, the initial fire wasn't hot enough, wasn't destroying the body fast enough. So in this desperate effort to intensify the flames, they started adding things. Old paper, party banners, and then, incredibly, 4 packets of butter or ghee.
Butter? To fuel the fire?
Yes. To make the fire hotter, burn faster, destroy the evidence, just unimaginable.
The sheer nerve?
Yeah.
Using their own restaurant, that method? But surely that much smoke, that kind of fire, couldn't go unnoticed. How did it all come out?
You're exactly right. It was impossible to hide. The flames were apparently shooting incredibly high, maybe 30, 35 feet, and thick black smoke pouring out. It obviously attracted attention.
Someone must have seen it.
Yes, a vegetable seller nearby. A woman named Anaro Devi. She saw this huge, unusual fire and started screaming for help. Luckily, 2 policemen were on patrol close by. Delhi Police Constable Abdul Nazir Kunj and a home guard, Chandrapal. They went to investigate straight away.
And they ran into Keshav.
They did. Keshav Kumar tried to block them, tried to put them off, said something like, oh, we're just burning some old party banners, trying to downplay it.
But Constable Kunch wasn't buying it.
No, he was suspicious. He actually climbed over a wall to get into the back area of the restaurant, and there he saw Keshav standing near the tandoor. And crucially, he smelled it. Not just burning paper, he smelled burning flesh.
Oh, God.
And when he looked inside the tandoor, he saw a human hand.
Just, wow. What a horrifying moment of discovery.
Yeah.
So what happened immediately after that? Police action. The investigation.
Swift action. Constable Kunj immediately got out to call for backup. When the full police team raided the restaurant, Sushil Sharma managed to slip away. He fled. That started this big chase across India: Jaipur, Mumbai, Tirupati, Chennai, Bengaluru.
While
Keshav was arrested right there at the scene. And when they finally put out the fire in the tandoor, they found what was left: a severely burnt human body, completely unrecognizable.
Unrecognizable even to her parents, right?
That's right. The burns were so bad, Naina's own parents couldn't identify her. It was tragically left to Matlub Karim, her friend, who identified her based on, I think, her hairstyle and the structure of her nose.
And this is where the forensics became groundbreaking for India.
Absolutely. This case became a landmark. It was the first time ever in India that DNA testing was used in a murder case to definitively establish the victim's identity. A huge step for forensic science here.
That's fascinating. What about the cause of death? Did they figure that out quickly?
Well, initially, no. The first autopsy report was actually quite flawed. It attributed her death just to the burn injuries, somehow missing the bullets.
Seriously?
Yes. Thankfully, the lieutenant governor ordered a second autopsy. This time, a team of 3 doctors conducted it. And they found the 2 bullets, one in her head, one in her neck. That completely changed everything, obviously. It proved the cause of death was the shooting, not the fire.
And other evidence?
Plenty. Police found the bullet casings back at Sushil's flat. They found Naina's blood there too, AB group. And later, after Sushil was caught, he himself actually led the police to a blood-stained kurta, a shirt, that he'd worn on the night of the murder.
So the evidence was really stacking up. And the legal process moved fast for the time, didn't it? His arrest, the charges?
Remarkably fast, yes. Sushil Sharma finally surrendered in Bengaluru, July 10th, 1995. About a week after the murder, he tried to change his appearance, shaved his head, shaved his mustache, claimed he was on a pilgrimage.
A weak disguise.
Very. The police weren't fooled, and they filed the charge sheet in, get this, just 20 days. Record speed. July 27th, 1995.
Wow. And the trial?
Trial started quickly, too. On November 3rd, 2003, Sushil Sharma was convicted of Naina's murder. Keshav Kumar was convicted alongside him.
And the sentence?
4 days later, November 7th, 2003, the district court handed down the sentence. Death penalty for Sushil Sharma. Keshav Kumar got 7 years of rigorous imprisonment for his part in the disposal.
The death penalty. The most severe sentence possible. But that wasn't the end of the legal road for Sushil Sharma, was it? He appealed.
No, not at all. He appealed straight away to the Delhi High Court in December 2003. But in February 2007, the High Court upheld the death sentence. Their reasoning was quite strong. They called people like Sushil power drunk, said they lacked regard for human life, were a menace to society, and deserved no mercy. They explicitly called it a rarest of rare case.
The rarest of rare. That specific legal doctrine in India for capital punishment.
Exactly. But Sushil didn't stop there. He took his appeal to the highest court, the Supreme Court of India, and in October 2013, they made a different decision. They commuted his death sentence to life imprisonment.
They overturned the death penalty. Why? What was their reasoning? That must have been controversial.
It was, very much so. The Supreme Court acknowledged the crime was undoubtedly brutal, but, and this is the crucial part, they said brutality alone would not justify the death sentence in this case.
So what else did they consider?
Several things. One, the lack of absolutely definitive proof that Sushil had actively chopped the body. They leaned towards the explanation that the limbs separated due to the intense heat. 2, his lack of any prior criminal record before this. And 3, they classified the crime as stemming from a strained personal relationship, an act of passion perhaps, however brutal, rather than a crime against society like terrorism or serial killing.
I see. So it wasn't rarest of the rare in their view.
Precisely. And this decision sparked a huge debate across India about that very doctrine. If this level of brutality wasn't rarest of rare, what exactly was? It really made people question the application of the death penalty.
It really does make you think about the complexities of justice, doesn't it? So after the Supreme Court decision, what happened to Sushil Sharma? And what's the lasting legacy of this case?
While Sushil Sharma served his time, he ended up spending nearly 23 years locked up in Tihar jail. And it's notable he wasn't granted parole for a very long time, that initial 20-year period, which is unusual. It shows how seriously the crime was still viewed, even without the death penalty.
Did he do anything notable in prison?
Reports suggest he actually worked as a priest while incarcerated. An interesting turn, perhaps. Then finally, in December 2018, he was released. Good behavior, sentence served.
And now,
here's perhaps the most striking, almost unbelievable twist from our sources. Sushil Sharma is apparently now working as a marriage counselor.
wait, seriously? A marriage counselor.
That's what some reports claim. It's deeply ironic, isn't it, given the history?
Ironic doesn't even begin to cover it. But beyond him, the case itself. It left a huge mark on the public, right? That story about tandoori food.
Oh, absolutely. That's not just an anecdote. It seems to have been a real phenomenon. For about a year after the murder, people in Delhi were genuinely put off eating tandoori food. Restaurants apparently suffered. It just shows the level of visceral disgust and horror the method of disposal inspired in the public consciousness.
It really embedded itself in the city's memory. A physical reaction to the crime.
Exactly. It speaks volumes about how certain crimes can just shock the collective system, affecting daily life in unexpected ways.
So, when we pull it all together, what's the takeaway? The Tandoor murder case. It's clearly more than just another awful crime story.
Yeah.
It feels like a deep dive into, well, the dark side of relationships, yes, but also how criminal investigation evolved in India, and these huge questions about justice, about the rarest of rare.
It really pushes you to ask some tough questions, doesn't it? When something presented as love twists into such extreme possessiveness, such violence, and then the cover-up is so utterly gruesome, it forces us to confront how we as a society define justice. How do we decide on punishment for acts that just shake our basic understanding of humanity?
Right.
And what do these landmark cases, these really dark chapters, truly teach us about human nature, about our capacity for terrible things, and maybe, hopefully, about our capacity for justice too? Leaves you thinking, doesn't it?
And that's bring us to the end of today's episode. The Tandoor murder case was not just a crime. It was a story of love, power, and betrayal that shocked an entire nation. If you found this story interesting, don't forget to follow the podcast and share it with your others who enjoy true crime. Thanks for listening, and we will back soon with another real and unforgettable story. Until then, take care and stay safe.